The Doom That Came to Sarnath, adapted from a story by H.P. Lovecraft. A long, long time ago, there were two ancient cities beside a quiet lake. One was called Ebe, and the other, much newer, was called Sarnath. The towers of Sarnath were tall and white, its streets were clean, and its people were proud of their clever minds and shining buildings. On the far side of the lake stood a much older city. It was a very peculiar place called Ebe. The people of Ebe weren't like the people of Sarnath at all. They were gentle beings who loved silence and nature. They were green and scaly, with big eyes that always seemed a little sad. They prayed to an old stone statue of a mysterious god named Bokrug, who lived deep in the lake. But the people of Sarnath were proud and powerful. They didn't like the strange people of Ebe. The people of Sarnath thought the Ebe people were very weird and not as good as them. They feared what was different, and fear slowly turned into cruelty. One night, filled with fear and pride, the people of Sarnath marched across the lake, destroyed the city of Ebe, and took the statue of Bokrug back to Sarnath. The next morning, the city of Ebe was gone. All that was left was mist and silence. On the other side of the lake, while the people of Sarnath celebrated, a mysterious priest in dark robes stood up. His voice was shaky and deep. 1,000 years from now, doom will come to Sarnath. Everyone laughed. They believed they had grown stronger, but they had forgotten something important. Being powerful does not mean being right. Years passed, and the city of Sarnath became rich and beautiful. The people built tall towers, grand palaces, and colorful marketplaces. They wore robes of silk, ate the finest food, and filled their streets with music and laughter. People came from faraway lands to admire its golden halls. They had everything they wanted, and they forgot all about the little city of Ebe and the statue of the strange god Bokrug, which they had taken and locked away in a dark room beneath the palace. But strange things began to happen. Sometimes, late at night, the waters of the lake would ripple strangely, and some said they heard whispers on the wind. Statues cracked. Shadows lingered too long. Still, the people of Sarnath laughed and danced, believing their city would shine forever. 1,000 years passed, and Sarnath grew even grander. The people built more beautiful buildings and held many happy festivals. Each year, they celebrated their victory over Ebe with a great feast. On the 1,000th anniversary of that day, the king of Sarnath threw the biggest feast ever. The streets were lit with lanterns, and the people wore their finest clothes. Inside the palace, nobles danced and feasted beneath shining chandeliers. Everyone was laughing. Everyone was celebrating. But outside, the lake grew dark and quiet. A strange green mist crept toward the city. The moon disappeared behind clouds, and the stars seemed to hide. The green idol of Bokrug sitting in the temple began to glow with an eerie light, and a chill filled the air. Suddenly, a low sound rolled across the water like a drumbeat or a whisper. The mist grew thicker. People heard voices, soft, sorrowful sounds carried by the wind. Shapes moved within the mist, not angry, but sad. Some said they saw glowing eyes far out on the lake. Others heard something slithering through the fog. Inside the palace, the laughter slowly faded and was replaced by fear. By morning, the city was silent. Sarnath was gone. Where the great city once stood, only one thing remained, a glowing green idol sitting by the silent lake, watching, waiting. Many, many years passed. Grass grew over the broken stones of Sarnath. Trees whispered in the wind where tall towers once stood. Birds flew above, and fish swam peacefully in the lake again. No one rebuilt the city. Travelers came from far away and found only ruins. The towers were broken, the streets were empty, and a faint green mist still floated in the air. No one knew what had happened that night. The great palace was cracked and silent. The people were gone. Not a single voice, not a single footprint remained. Only the strange statue of Balkrug stood in the center of the ruins, glowing faintly. Some say the god from the lake returned to take back what was his. Others believe the people of Ib had never truly left, and the lake seemed peaceful again, as if reminding the world of an important lesson. Kindness matters. Pride can make us blind, and the past is never truly forgotten.